Students, let us start with our chemistry lecture. Welcome you all. Today's our topic is topic 12, that is chemical equilibrium. So let us start with our topic, and today's subtopic will be about two types of reaction, that is homogeneous and heterogeneous equilibria. First, let us see about what is homogeneous reaction and heterogeneous reaction. Now, here in homogeneous reaction, all the reactants are in the same phase. That is, homogeneous reaction is a reaction in which all the substances involved exist in a single homogeneous phase. Now, homogeneous reaction, that is, the reactant and product are in the same physical phase or state. So, let us see one example. So, example for homogeneous reaction, that is 2HI, that is in gaseous stage that reversely gives H2 in the gaseous stage plus I2 in the gaseous stage. So, here hydrogen iodide reversibly gives H2 and I2, and here the reactant and the product both are in the same gaseous phase. Now, example for heterogeneous reaction, NH3 gas plus Cl2 gas reversibly gives NH4Cl in solid. So, here ammonia, that is NH3 in gaseous phase, reacts with Cl2, that is chlorine, in gaseous phase and reversibly gives NH4Cl in the solid state. NH4Cl, that is ammonium chloride. It is in the solid state. And here the reactant and products are in different phases. So, it's an heterogeneous reaction. Here in heterogeneous reaction, either any of the reactant or the product can be in different phase. So, heterogeneous reaction is a reaction in which the substance involved are present in different phase. Now, we can say that equilibria involving homogeneous or heterogeneous reaction are called homogeneous and heterogeneous equilibria respectively. Now, let us see about equilibrium constant for heterogeneous equilibria. So, as we have seen earlier, equilibrium having more than one phase is called heterogeneous equilibrium. Now, here for example, ethanol in a conical flask, here liquid vapor equilibrium is established. Now, since ethanol is in liquid state, but as it is placed in a flask, the vapors will be formed and liquid vapor equilibrium will be established. So, ethanol, that is C2H5OH in liquid state respectively gives C2H5OH in gaseous phase. For a given temperature, Kc, that is equilibrium constant, is in equilibrium constant in terms of concentration is Kc that is concentration of C2H5OH in gaseous phase upon, that is divided by, concentration of ethanol, that is C2H5 on OH in C2H5OH in liquid phase. At any given temperature, density of liquid is constant irrespective of the amount of liquid, and therefore the denominator, that is C2H5OH, that is the concentration of C2H5OH, that is liquid ethanol, is constant. Therefore, concentration of C2H5OH in a liquid phase is constant. Now, the modified equilibrium constant for evaporation of ethanol will be K inverse, Kc inverse, okay, that is K slash C, K slash C equals to Kc into constant, that is equal to C2H5OH in the gaseous phase. Concentration of C2H5OH in gaseous phase. Now, see the second example for iodine. Here, I2, that is in the solid state, sublimes to give I2 in the gaseous state, that is I2 in the gaseous state. So, here the modified equilibrium constant, that is K inverse C, is equal to concentration of I2 gas. So, here we can say that concentration of pure solid do not change, and thus expression for the equilibria are simplified. This even includes solid. So, while writing the expression, writing the equilibrium constant expression for heterogeneous reaction, we use only the concentration of gases and the dissolved substances. Now, let us next see about the units of equilibrium constant. Now, Kc, that is equilibrium constant, is different for different equilibria, and the unit of equilibrium constant, that is Kc, depends on the expression of Kc. The unit of equilibrium constant depends on the expression of Kc. We know Kc is the ratio of the equilibrium concentration of product over the equilibrium concentration of reactant, each raised to its power of their stoichiometric coefficient, which is different for different equilibria. Now, here we can say that therefore the unit of Kc is also different. Now, equilibrium constant being the ratio of concentration raised to the stoichiometric coefficient, therefore the unit of equilibrium constant is equal to mole, that is concentration of mole per liter raised to delta n, or mole dm raised to minus 3 raised to delta n, okay, where delta n is the sum of stoichiometric coefficient of product minus sum of stoichiometric coefficient of reactant. So, let us see how we can calculate the unit of equilibrium constant with two examples. Now let us see with the two example how to calculate unit of equilibrium constant. Now see equilibrium reaction first. Here you have H2 gas plus I2 gas reversibly giving 2 HI gas. So here Kc is equal to concentration of HI gas raised to its stoichiometric coefficient 2 upon H2 gas, that is concentration of H2 gas into I2 gas, concentration of I2 gas. We know that the unit of Kc is mole per dm cube raised to delta n. So to calculate the unit of Kc, that is equal to mole per dm cube raised to 2. So raised to the power, that is 2, upon concentration, that is mole per dm cube multiplied by moles per dm cube. So here as the numerator and the denominator are the same, they are cancelled. We can say that as all the unit cancel out, so Kc has no unit. Even we can calculate the unit of Kc by finding the difference between the number of moles in the numerator and the number of moles in the denominator. So here the unit of Kc is mole per dm cube raised to delta n. Therefore, unit of Kc equals to mole per mole dm raised to minus 3 raised to delta n. So therefore, the unit of Kc will be mole per dm cube raised to 0. So as we know, anything raised to 0 is 1. So here, therefore, Kc has no unit. Okay, now let us see about the second example for calculation to calculate the unit of equilibrium constant. That is the second example. Now here you have N2 gas plus 3H2 gas reversibly giving twice of NH3 gas. So Kc equals to concentration of NH3 gas raised to its stoichiometric coefficient, that is 2, upon concentration of N2 gas into concentration of H2 gas raised to 3. So the unit of Kc is equal to mole per dm cube raised to 2 upon mole per dm cube into mole per dm cube raised to 3. So here you have, by solving the above, you will get mole per dm cube raised to 2 upon mole per dm cube raised to 4. Now we have to open the bracket and do the calculation. So here it will be mole per dm cube raised to minus 2. Now we will get mole per dm, mole raised to minus 2 and dm raised to 6 after opening the bracket. Now here, for calculating the unit of Kc, it can also be done by finding the difference between the number of moles in the numerator, that is difference between number of moles, that is equal to delta n. So here delta n will be 2 minus 1 plus 3, that is equal to 2 minus 4, that will be equal to minus 2. Now here the unit of Kc will be mole per dm cube raised to delta n. That will be, since we have got the value for delta n as minus 2, so we'll put the value minus 2 over here. So that will be mole per dm cube raised to minus 2. So after opening the bracket, you will get unit of Kc, that will be equal to mole raised to minus 2 into dm raised to 6. Now let us solve the problem. So let us see an example and solve the problem. So here the question is, write the equilibrium constant expression for the decomposition of baking soda, that is sodium bicarbonate, and deduce the unit of Kc from the above expression. Now let us solve this problem. So the equation is 2NaHCO3, that is baking soda or sodium bicarbonate. This reversibly gives Na2CO3, that is in the solid form sodium carbonate plus carbon dioxide gas plus H2O. So we can calculate the value for Kc. So therefore Kc equals to concentration of sodium carbonate, that is Na2CO3 in solid state, into concentration of CO2 gas into H2O gas, divided by NaHCO3 in the solid state raised to 2, that is sodium bicarbonate raised to 2, the concentration of sodium bicarbonate raised to 2. In case of solid or pure liquid, we take the number of moles are taken as 0. So the reactant is NaHCO3, which is solid, and Na2CO3 is solid. So its number of moles are taken as 0. Therefore, the concentration of NaHCO3 and Na2CO3 is taken as 1. So, in the above equation, the number of moles of CO2 is 1. So, its power will be 1. And number of moles of H2 gas is 1. So, its power will be 1. Now, after solving the above equation, you will get Kc equals to concentration of CO2 gas into concentration of H2 gas. Therefore, unit of Kc will be mole per dm cube raised to 2, that is equal to mole raised to 2 and dm raised to minus 6. Now let us see about the characteristics of equilibrium constant. Now we'll see about the 4 characteristics of equilibrium constant. Now the first one is the value of equilibrium constant is independent of initial concentration of either the reactant or product. That is, Kc is independent of initial concentration of reactant or product but depends on the temperature and nature of reaction. As equilibrium is attained when the rate of reactant is equal to the rate of backward reaction, that is rate of the forward reaction is equal to the rate of backward reaction. If reaction is reversed, then equilibrium constant is also reversed. Now let us see about the second characteristics. Equilibrium constant is temperature dependent and hence Kc, Kp changes with change in temperature. Now let us see about the third characteristics. Equilibrium constant, that is Kc, has a characteristic value for a particular reversible reaction represented by a balance equation at the given temperature. So here we are talking about the reversible reaction which is balance, that is its stoichiometric coefficient at a particular given temperature. Now let us see about the fourth characteristic. Higher value of Kc, that is equilibrium constant in terms of concentration, or Kp, that is equilibrium constant in terms of pressure, means more product is formed and the equilibrium point is more towards the right hand side and vice versa. Now if the value of Kc and Kp is higher, more product will be formed, and if the reaction is reversed, then equilibrium constant is also reversed. Here students, one thing has to be clear, that equilibrium is established when reactant reversibly gives product. So at equilibrium we get both reactant and product, and the forward reaction and reverse reaction goes on, and at equilibrium the concentration of reactant and product does not change. Now let us see about the application of equilibrium constant. Now the first application is prediction of the direction of the reaction, that is we are predicting whether the reactant is formed or product is formed at a given time. So see the reaction over here. Suppose A of A plus B of B reversibly gives C of C plus D of D. So at equilibrium Kc will be concentration of C raised to its stoichiometric coefficient C into concentration of D raised to the power or raised to the stoichiometric coefficient, that is D, upon concentration of A raised to its stoichiometric coefficient A into concentration of B raised to its stoichiometric coefficient B, where all the concentrations are equilibrium concentration. Now this ratio is also called reaction quotient, that is QC. So, the reaction quotient, that is QC, is equal to concentration of C raised to C into concentration of D raised to D upon concentration of A raised to A into concentration of B raised to B. That is, QC will be equal to product of concentration of products upon products of concentration of reactants. That is, QC depends on concentration of reactant and product. So here we can see that the reaction quotient, that is QC, has same form as that of the equilibrium constant, but it involves concentration that are not necessarily be equilibrium constant. Now, when we know the value of QC and KC, and when we compare both, then this comparison of QC and KC is very useful to decide whether the forward or reverse reaction should occur to establish the equilibrium. Now further we will see this through a chart which will make the point more clear to you all. Now this can be explained diagrammatically, predicting the direction of reaction. That is, when we have to predict or to estimate the direction of reaction, whether it is in the forward direction or reversible direction, we can say that. Now see the first here. You can see in the first diagram, QC is less than KC. See the side diagram which is given over there. You have QC less than KC. So here the reaction will be more in the forward direction. So reactant will be formed. From product, and it will try to establish equilibrium. And the arrow shows the movement towards the equilibrium. Now see here KC is less than QC. This means that the reaction will move towards the backward direction, and the product will start forming, and the reactant and try to attain the equilibrium. Now students, see the side chart which has been made. Okay, so just concentrate over there and see the difference which is given. So here I have divided the first, second and third into 3 so that you can be clearly understanding the point over here. Now see the first one. If QC is less than KC, then the reaction will proceed from left to right in the forward direction, generating more product to attain the equilibrium. Now if QC is equal to KC, then the reaction is at equilibrium, and here no net reaction occurs. Now next down, you see, if QC is greater than KC, here the reaction will proceed from right to left. Now this is requiring more of the reactant to attain the equilibrium. So as we have discussed earlier, A comparison of QC and Kc indicates the direction in which net reaction proceeds as the system tends to attain the equilibrium. But one thing has to be clear, that the prediction of the direction of reaction on the basis of QC and Kc value makes no comment on the time required for attaining the equilibrium. Now let us see the second one, the second application which is there, to know the extent of reaction. Now see here the expression for Kc. As we all know about Kc, that is Kc equals to concentration of C raised to C into concentration of D raised to D upon concentration of A raised to A into concentration of B raised to B. Now here the magnitude of Kc is, first it is directly proportional to the concentration of product, and secondly it is inversely proportional to the concentration of reactant. Now we will study this by the diagram. Now students, see the alongside diagram over there. Just go through the diagram properly. Now here, if Kc is less than 10 raised to power 3, okay, so the larger the value of equilibrium constant Kc, the greater the reaction proceeds to the right before reaching the equilibrium. Now students, see the diagram very clearly. Now if the diagram, from the diagram it is clear that if the value is of Kc is 10 raised to 3 or becomes greater than 10 raised to 3, then the value of Kc is very large and the reaction proceeds near to completion. Now if Kc is 10 raised to minus 3 or less than 10 raised to minus 3, then value of Kc is very small, then the reaction hardly proceeds at all. So the reaction will not proceed. But if Kc is intermediate between 10 raised to power 10 raised to minus 3 and 10 raised to 3, then at equilibrium appreciable concentration of both reactant and product are present at equilibrium. Now here, the larger the value of equilibrium constant Kc, the greater the reaction proceeds to the right before reaching the equilibrium state. Now if Kc is greater than 10 raised to 3, okay, then there is majority of product and reaction is almost completed. And if Kc is less than 10 raised to minus 3, then reaction hardly proceeds and majority will be the reactant. And if Kc is between 10 raised to 3 and 10 raised to minus 3, then the concentration of reactant and product will be in sustainable amount and rate will be appreciable. Now we'll move further and see about the examples of equilibrium reaction. Now we will see two reversible reaction. Now the first example, that is 2H2 gas plus O2 gas reversibly giving twice of H2O gas. Now here equilibrium constant, that is Kc, is equal to concentration of H2O gas raised to its stoichiometric coefficient 2 upon concentration of H2 gas raised to its stoichiometric coefficient 2 into concentration of O2 gas, its coefficient is 1. Okay. Now here Kc is equal to 2.4 into 10 raised to 47 at 500 Kelvin. Now here the value of Kc is given in terms of 10 raised to power 47 at 500 Kelvin. This means that Kc value is greater than 10 raised to 3. Okay. So the first point is the value of Kc is very higher, that is Kc is greater than 10 raised to 3. At second point, at equilibrium there is a high proportion of product compared to reactant. Now here forward reaction is favored. The reaction is in favor of product and nearly goes to completion. Now the fifth point is, if Kc is much more, that is greater and greater than, that is much more greater than 1, the reaction proceeds almost totally towards product. Therefore, concentration of product will be greater than the concentration of reactant. Now let us see the other side. Here this is a reversible reaction of the previous one. Now see the reaction over here, twice of H2O gas reversibly giving twice of H2 gas plus O2 gas. Now here the reaction is reversed and K inverse C is equal to 1 upon Kc. So here the equilibrium constant value is inverse. Now K slash C, that is K inverse C, is equal to 1 by Kc. So here put the value of Kc, you will get 1 upon 2.4 into 10 raised to 47. Now this K inverse C will be, after solution you will get 4.1 into 10 raised to minus 48. So that will be equal to 0.41 into 10 raised to minus 47 at 500 Kelvin. So here first the value of Kc is very low, which is less than 10 raised to minus 3. At equilibrium, only a small fraction of the reactant are converted into product. So the concentration of product will be very less and the concentration of the reactant will be more. The third point, reverse reaction is favored. So here the product will give the reactant. Fourth point, reaction hardly proceeds towards the product and the value of Kc is very less than 1. So reaction hardly proceeds towards the product. That is, concentration of product is very less than concentration of reactant. So students, today we will end over here. So students, when you're studying this topic, see that you take your pen, your paper, and simultaneously when you see the video, you make your own notes, try to understand it more clearly. And so we'll end over here. Thank you very much.